Hi everyone, this is Manny from Art Mellows. Today we'll attempt to sculpt this beautiful illustration by Chris. He also goes by name Morning Scribbles. You probably would have come across his art. His art style is unique and so beautiful and so funny. He's one of my favorite artists. I've done a few of his illustrations in past as well. And I think this is my third one. Anyways, I hope this video gives you some insight on sculpting process and my approach on sculpting in Nomad. So let's begin. How we will achieve this is by breaking down complex into simple forms using primitives. So I started with a cube. That's how I see his head, a combo of cube and a sphere. His body appears squarish, but we will use cylinder, which is close to human body representation. We will pose him from the beginning. He is somewhat looking down. The simplest representation of hands and legs are cylinders. So we will use cylinders for limbs. Of course, the battery is going to be a cube. This is a very symmetrical pose, so we will exploit symmetry, which is such a helpful feature in Nomad. We will also focus on the leg, but we will use again the same approach of symmetry. While you're adding these primitives, you can keep the resolution of these primitives relatively higher, because once we block this, we are going to sculpt and we will need some resolution there. So you might see me putting all the limbs here just for the blocking process, but eventually I'm just going to sculpt one hand and one leg, and then I'm going to duplicate and flip it on the side. So we are still in the process of blocking, just placing primitives in the right place and making sure we got the proportions right. Sometimes using two primitives and merging them, like here, in case of shoe, works better before you actually start sculpting. Get that shape of leg. What I've done is I've reduced the resolution of the cube. The shape of the leg, it's like wider on the top and narrower below. So in order to do that, I've reduced the resolution of cube, so we have less of subdivisions, and then I've used mask, and then I've used transform, so that way you'll have a better control of shaping this particular cube. Because what happens is when you transform, the bend occurs where there is a subdivision. So that's how it works. You want to take wise and big decisions in the beginning to make your sculpting process easy later on. You can always use spears in the area of joints in limbs, and it always works. I figured later on that the legs were not straight, like they were a little bit bent at the joints, so I will eventually be replacing one cylinder with two and a spear in the middle for the arms. Keep sole as a separate part for the shoe, so that will help you avoid unnecessary sculpting. Bump area can be simplified into spears. Because our Frank is sitting here, so the shape will a little bit vary. Round will make it more like an egg shape or oval with a flat base. We will start with face, and we will spend a lot of time on face. I think if we do face right, we have nailed most of it, because face is going to be the focal point of our sculpt. Brush tool to carve mouth. For the corner of mouth, I'm using negative inflate tool. So feel free to merge all the primitives we used for face. Although later I realized that I shouldn't have merged the top split of his head. Anyways, we will sort it out later on. As Bob Ross says, there are no mistakes, just happy accidents. So we will use masks feature to create his hair. You can subdivide the top part of the head to have a sharper mask, as you can always go back to earlier subdivision after extracting the hair. Tricks you figure out with more and more you sculpt. We are using a 2D picture as a reference for a sculpt, so the limitation we have here is we cannot see the back part. As an artist, you'll have to make some decisions and use your imagination to figure out how the sculpt looks from behind or other angles which you can't see. In a way, it's a freedom you have, so you can play around. You can always use reference images if you get stuck with an idea. You also want to keep your arms and legs separate, so you can move it around and pose your sculpt at any given point of time. In this case, Frank is holding battery in his hand. You will have to fine tune a little bit here there. So having a separate piece definitely helps. Final thought, nothing can replace practice. We ought to do it. More you sculpt, more tutorials you watch, better you will get. Attention to details will come gradually and you'll start enjoying the process more. For me, sculpting is more fun than 3D modeling. By that I mean like using a technical approach and modeling something in Maya or Blender. With Nomad, it's even more exciting, it's relaxing, it's portable, and it's so much fun. Keep pushing and you will come up with something like this or even better. By the way, if you're new to Nomadsculpt, I've compiled an ebook. It should give you a good head start and it has all the necessary information you need to understand tools and features of Nomad. And guys, also feel free to visit artmellows.com, link in the description. It has loads of information on Nomadsculpt, Procreate, digital tools, digital media, and much more. I'm hoping this video was helpful. This is Manny from Art Mellows signing out. See you in the next video.